Here are some interesting shipwreck and treasure coins recently sold at auction by heritage auctions. Something that can happen to coins salvaged from a shipwreck, especially if they've been underwater for hundreds of years, is the formation of what is known as a clump. That's a group of between 2 and sometimes even hundreds of coins, all fused together in a single group with mineral deposits and coral having formed between and around them. This is such a clump of 4 8 reales or Spanish pillar dollar coins from an unknown shipwreck in the Caribbean. One you can clearly see is a Charles IV coin, placing them between 1772 and 1825. This relic was sold at auction's close for $528. This somewhat more ambiguous multi-coin lump was recovered from the wreck of the Dutch East India Company ship, the Bredenhof, that sunk off of the southern African coast of what is modern-day Mozambique on June 6, 1753. It appears to be a grouping of VOC date coins, something similar to but not identical to this coin. This unusual copper shipwreck find was sold at auction for $348. Another clumped lot is now seen here, this time reportedly from the Taj Mahal treasure wreck, what is also referred to as the Great Basis wreck, after the Great Basis Reef off the coast of Sri Lanka, where the ship sunk in 1702. It belonged to the last great emperor of the Mughal Empire, Alamgir I, better remembered by his populous name of Aurangzeb. His father, Shah Jahan, is the man responsible for ordering the construction of the Taj Mahal. The shipwreck was discovered in the 1960s by science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke. The clump contains several rupee and half-rupee coins, and is accompanied by 2 loose coins that match impressions on the clump itself perfectly. This lot was sold at auction for $2,160. One more grouping of Indian coins, but this time the clump was formed by a neatly stacked, practically a roll of 1620 cash coins. The reverse of one coin reveals the date of 1808. They were recovered from the shipwreck of the Admiral Gardner, a British East India Company ship that sunk off of the coast of Kent in England in 1809, and then only salvaged in the 1980s, almost 180 years later. This grouping is authenticated by NGC and sold at auction for $1,110. The Tumbaga shipwreck is possibly the first, but definitely, at least as far as I know, the oldest shipwreck treasure to be salvaged from the New World. We actually don't even know the name of the ship that sunk itself, but it is estimated to have sunk around 1525 to 1528 off of the coast of the Great Bahama Island. The term Tumbaga refers to low fineness gold or silver relics, idols, crude jewelry, funerary masks, or ceremonial ornaments that were important to the indigenous peoples that the conquistadors first encountered, a large number of which were found in the remains of this shipwreck. This is a silver patty bar or ingot. Think, hamburger patty in order to get the vague shape in mind, made by probably digging a hole in the ground and then simply pouring the molten silver into it from these probably stolen Tumbaga relics, which were melted down for easier transport. This bar is huge and weighs 16 kilograms, nearly 37 pounds. It sold at auction for the sum of $17,400. One of the most legendary shipwrecks of all time has to be the legendary 1715 Plate Fleet. It consisted of two separate Spanish fleets that sailed together for greater safety against pirates and the like. The Tierra Firme fleet and the Nueva España fleet, with a combined strength of 12 to 13 ships, 11 of which were claimed by a savage hurricane. Accounts differ, but between 1,000 and 1,500 souls were lost, along with literal tons of silver, gold, and other assorted treasures, all bound to the Spanish court. This stunning 1698 2 escudo gold cob from the Cuzco Mint in Peru was one of those coins, later recovered and now residing in an NGC slab with the grade of MS-64. This example was sold at auction for the sum of $18,000. Along with their more famous treasures of gold and silver, the Spanish galleons were often also laden with natural gems and other treasures from the New World. Colombian emeralds were especially sought after for their unmatched quality. This uncut natural stone was a part of the treasure recovered from the 1715 fleet, with a total weight of 340.21 grams. It was sold at auction for $4,320. Another Spanish colonial gold cob of 8 escudos can now be seen here. This coin too is from the Peruvian Lima Mint, minted in 1718 and issued under the reign of Philip V. It was a coin similar to this one, though of a much later date, that Ephraim Brasher used as inspiration when he made his Lima-style doubloon in 1786, before moving on to make his now famous Brasher New York-style doubloons in 1787. This example has an attractive MS-61 grade from NGC and at auction passed under the auctioneer's gavel for $19,200. The Mexico City Mint was authorized by royal decree to start striking Spanish colonial gold coins in 1675, although they didn't actually start minting these cob pieces of 8 escudos until 1679, at which time it has been estimated that around 4,284 of these coins have been produced. Despite the fact that this coin doesn't have a readable date left on it, we can determine that it was a part of that early subtype due to the large bejeweled cross on the reverse of the coin, which differs from the plain cross that was placed on the design of later issues, making this one of the first gold coins ever struck in Mexico, graded by NGC as XF40 to achieve $21,000 at auction. I feel like saying incredibly rare in a video like this becomes a little bit redundant at times, but there really is no other way to describe this Spanish gold cob of 8 reales, struck at the colonial Nuevo Reino Mint, or what is more often simply referred to as the Bogota Mint in what would be modern-day Colombia, a rare surviving example of the only 2 such certified by NGC. Dated as 1749, replete with a retrograde 4 on the date, graded as NGC AU58, it secured a final price at auction of $37,200. Coins like this one from the Segovia Mint represent an interesting dichotomy within the broader story of Spanish numismatics, as it already began modernizing its minting processes and moving away from hammered coins as early as the 16th century, thanks to help from the Austrian Whole Mint. So not only are these incredibly rare, but they are also of significantly higher quality compared to other Spanish mints, and even well into the 18th century, really. This 1687 over 3 8 coin from the reign of Carlos II, the last ruling Habsburgian monarch of Spain, is a prime example of just this. Graded by NGC as MS63, it was sold at auction for $38,400. Subscribe to WNN and activate all notifications with the bell icon to know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.